Hey there guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. This is Chetan here from DevilCube and welcome back to a brand new Photoshop tutorial. This is my first Photoshop tutorial on this channel, and a couple of days back I uploaded my first After Effects tutorial. It's a pretty simple tutorial, so you guys can check that out if you guys are beginners, and this again is a Photoshop simple tutorial, so you guys can watch this and learn if you guys are beginners. So before I get started, I want to show talk about a little bit of what I've been doing the past 2 months. So I have been pretty busy with college and assignments and work and stuff. But the most important thing is I joined Twitter recently, that is 2 months back, and I joined this group called as Void Visuals. They kind of asked me if I can join their team, and I said okay, and we make graphics for a lot of Twitter people, and a lot of Clash Royale members, the Supercell members, the Clash of Clans members, and all sorts of stuff. So we make intros, we make banners, posters, headers, logos, everything, all graphic stuff we make. So all the links are in the description if you guys want to check us out. It's called Void Visuals. So I'm going to put that also in the description for you guys to check out. So without further ado, let's get started up with this tutorial. So we are going to be creating a sci-fi glow text effect. Pretty simple, not too complicated. So let's start. So I'm going to go to File over here, and I'm going to go and choose New. And this is going to be 1280 by 720, the dimension. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to press Ctrl 0 on my keyboard to fit the canvas to the screen. Okay, so now once we have this, we're going to go and create our text. So I'm just going to click on this text tool over here, and that's going to generate a text for me. And I'm just going to type in over here. I'm click on here, and I'm going to type in Devil Cube. It's pretty big, so I'm going to press Ctrl A to select it, and here we can click here on the character panel. And if you guys don't have that, you can go to Window and you can click on character over here, and I'm just going to go and reduce the size very much, something like that, and I think I'm going to set that to 140. That's good. And you can go and change the color to white. Okay. So we can't see the text now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this over here, and I'm going to go to the background, and I'm going to double click on that, and that's going to make it editable for me, so that lock goes away. And then I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to go and choose a gradient overlay. So what a gradient overlay does is adds an overlay from the bottom to the top, and that is, if I change the angle and the direction, you guys can see changing. So I'm going to set this to 90, and I'm going to go here to the gradient, and I'm going to click on this white one. I'm just going to choose something not too dark, a little bit light. So I'm going to set the somewhere around 10 over here, and I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to set the blend mode of this to multiply, and I'm going to add a pattern overlay. Now as you can see here, there is a pattern which you can see. If I hide this is what you can see. So I'm just going to go and choose this nice noise pattern that we have, and I'm going to turn back the gradient overlay, and we see a very subtle effect over here. If I increase the scale or decrease the scale, you can see it, but it actually doesn't matter, so you guys can keep it to how much ever you want. So I'm going to click OK, and now if I turn this this text back on, we can see it. Now how do you center a text? So I'm going to press Ctrl A on the keyboard to copy, to select the whole thing. Now you can see this dotted lines, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go and make sure we are on the move tool. So you're going to press V on the keyboard, which is the shortcut. Excuse me, and you're going to click here, which is going to center it. I'm sorry. On the y-axis, and here it's going to center it on the x-axis, and then press Ctrl D again to deselect, and we have the text centered up. But now but we want a thin text, not something thick. So I'm going to click on this, double click on this T over here, which is going to select the text. I'm going to go to the character panel, and we're going to drop down, and we're going to go and choose something cool, something very unique. You don't want a simple font, so I'm going to try. Nah, that's I don't like that. Let's see. Selecting a font is one big pain. Rectac. No. Let's see. We can try Vermin Vibes. We don't want something too thick. We want something sci-fi-ish, but not so thick. Let's go and search something else. I have a bunch of things over here. Maybe we can go with the only thing I have here available is Reckoner, and I think that's the best font which I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button over here, which is going to make it slant, which is what we need. And I'm just going to go ahead and increase the size over here, so we have a pretty big font over here. And we're going to center it by pressing Ctrl A, and we're going to press this, and we're going to press this, and that's what we are going to get. And press Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of drop shadow. So how do I add drop shadow? It's pretty simple. So I'm just going to click on this layer over here, and I'm going to click on this button which says drop shadow, and we are going to set the mode to color burn, and we are going to set the opacity to 100. We're going to uncheck use global light and set the angle to 90. I'm going to set the distance to 2 and the size to 2, and I'm going to click OK. But now we actually can't see anything, and how are we going to see that is I'm going to invert the colors here. So I'm just going to go double click on this, and I'm going to go and choose make this a black color. So now you can't see anything, and I'm going to click on this layer, and I'm just going to unhide these effects, so it's a plain white color. And now we can see a little bit of drop shadow over here. So if I go ahead, select the drop shadow and uncheck it, maybe you can go ahead and increase. Now let's set this to normal. Okay. If I increase the distance, you can see the drop shadow over there. Yeah, it's moving down. So something like that. And we're going to set this to color burn, which is going to be a very slight effect, but not too much. Maybe I'm just going to go and increase the size of this to 5. That's fine. And opacity, you can keep it at 80%. Now you can go and click on gradient overlay, which is going to add a gradient to the text. So I'm going to go double click on this gradient, and we see a black color over here. I'm going to go here and choose something gray. So I'm going to set this to probably around 10, and I'm just going to click OK. So it's going to be looking something like this, and that is completely fine. Maybe I'm just going to go and change this, set this black to 10, and we're going to come here and we're going to set this to a little bit more lighter. So maybe we can go ahead and increase this, so let's say around 20. That should do good, and let's click OK. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check back the effects on, and now you can see this beautiful amazing text effect that we have over here. Now the drop shadow is pretty too harsh, so what I'm going to do to the drop shadow is I'm going to click on the drop shadow. I'm just going to reduce the opacity of that to 50%, and we have something that looks like this. Maybe you can go to the gradient overlay and reverse it. Do we want this or do we want this? I think this looks better, so let me just keep it like that. Okay, this is looking good. So I'm just going to close this now, and I'm going to come here to this, double click on that, and this is the gradient overlay, and I'm just going to go change the color of this a little bit. So maybe this, I'm going to set this down to say something 10, which is going to be something like this, and we can go to this one and increase the color of this to 15. I think let's set it to default, guys. Let's cancel that. This looks fine. Now we can go to this one over here, this text over here, and we can go in and add a stroke effect. So what a stroke effect does, if I increase it, if you can see here, this, oh my god, that's too much. Yeah, so a stroke is basically a simple outline for the text. So what are we going to do with this? Okay, so we're going to set the size of this to 3, or maybe reduce it down to 2, and we're going to set the position to inside, so that's going to put the stroke inside, and we can reduce this down to 1 if it's too harsh, and we can set the opacity to something 95, not always 100. And the fill type, we're going to go and set this to a gradient. Now the angle is going to be 90, so it's going to be from top to bottom, and we're going to go and click on this gradient, and we're going to do some changes over here. So I'm going to double click on this stopwatch, and I'm going to add a color. And this color is going to be with the RGB values of 95, 120, and 145. So it's a nice blue color. And I'm going to go here and actually copy this. And this location here is basically the position of this thing over here. If I move it, you can see the location changes and the color automatically updates over here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to 0. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to set this location to 20, and I'm going to go and change this to a black color, completely black, and we're going to go to the 50th mark over here. So 50th mark, and we're going to go and paste that color code over there, and we're going to go to the 80th mark, which is going to be this, and we're going to go and set this to a black color, and on the last one, which is the white, we're going to go ahead and paste that color code, and boom, we have something like this. Now the drop shadow is being a little bit of an issue, so you guys can keep the drop shadow removed if you like. So maybe what I can do is I'm going to set the distance to 1 and distance to 1 and set this to 0, or maybe this to 1, and it's a little subtle effect. Maybe set this to 2 and 2. That's fine. Yeah, something like this, and we're gonna click on OK. So we can see we're getting this sci-fi-ness effect over here, looking pretty cool over here. The next one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this layer. I'm gonna press Ctrl J on my keyboard, which is gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna go right click, and I'm going to choose rasterize. We're going to choose rasterize layer style. So what rasterize layer style does is it creates it into a single object over here with all the layers applied. Let me just hide this. So it automatically has all the layers, and it does not have any specific layer style option over here. So if I double click it, I can add a new set of layer style. So that's what rasterization does. But that's not what we want to do. We want to Control Z to remove that, and we're just going to go right click, and we are going to choose rasterize type. So now the text is rasterized, but the layer style still remains, if you can see that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to do some little bit of work, which is going to take some time over here, but let's see how much we can do. So we are going to go and grab the pen tool. This one over here. So we're going to press P on the keyboard to get the pen tool. And what the pen tool does, it allows us to draw shapes. So let me just Control Z that. Now the stroke, we're going to set that down to the fill to none and the stroke to black, and we're going to set the stroke amount to 1. And then what we want to do is we want to go and click over here and draw a nice path for our text over here. So we can click over there, and the stroke is pretty high, so I'm going to reduce it down to 1, and then we can go and click over here, and then click right here in the center like that, and then we can click over here. Okay, and we can click right back over here. Now this is gonna be a little bit more. This is gonna be a little tedious, so we just have to spend some time making this. Now once you do this, you want to make some changes to that. You definitely can. So you can go click here on the path selection tool. You can just click on this, and then you can go ahead and make your necessary changes. So you can go ahead and select this point. Let's actually choose the direct selection tool, and now we can go ahead and meddle with these tangents over here. So we can go ahead and something like this. This is going to take some time. You want to hit Alt if you want to go ahead and move them like so. Just move them up over here like this, and if you hit, then we can just hit and enter on the keyboard, and that's going to create something like this for us. Now the stroke obviously is pretty too high, so we're going to go and reduce it down to 1 again, and we have something that looks like this. This is fine. It's pretty bad, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and select the pen tool again and create for the other letters. So just showing you guys, if you hold down shift, it's going to snap directly in that direction. So that's a cool tip for you guys. And we can click away, and we can click right over here again and click right over here, and we can reduce this down to 1 pixel, and let's hit Control D to deselect, and that's it, enter, and that's good. Let's go ahead and create the rest. If you guys want to watch, you guys can watch it, but you guys can go ahead and skip to the end. And I'm actually going to pause the video and come back when I am done with everything, guys. Okay, so now as you can see here, I have a bunch of shape layers and all these shapes ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all the shape layers that I have, and I'm just going to right click and choose merge shape. So now that's going to create it into one single shape over here. But as you can see over here, when I hit enter, they're all kind of merged together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control Z that. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose rasterize layers, and I'm going to create a single layer for each of those splines over here, and we can go and select all of this, and we can use merge layers, and beautiful, there it is, guys. That's fantastic. Let's press Ctrl+ to zoom in a little bit more so we have a better look on this letter. And I'm just going to focus on the word devil over here so that it's going to be easy. So I'm going to double click on that, and we're going to go ahead and add in some effects over here. We're going to go and add in a drop shadow, and I'm going to set the blend mode to color burn. We're going to set opacity to 100, angle to 90. We can uncheck use global light, and the distance and the size, we're going to change that to 2 for the distance and 3 for the size. So we have something, you know, dark like this. You guys can have a better look at it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add in an outer glow. I'm going to go and change the size of this to 9. I'm going to go and change the color of this to a blue color. So the color code I'm going to be using is 2AA1FB. So it's a nice blue color. I'm going to click OK on that. What else? We can go ahead and change the opacity to 100 and set the blending mode to screen. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add in an inner glow. So here we're going to go and change the blend mode of this to lighten. We can go and change the opacity to 100, and we're going to go and change the color to a nice blue color. So the color code I'm going to be using is going to be 160 for the R. Oops, 160. Then we want 195 and 204. So this is going to be the color, and I'm just going to click OK over here. I'm going to go and set the size of this to 10. So we have, you know, you can see some neon shininess over here. What else do we have to do? Can we do anything? Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to go here and reduce the fill of this to 0. It won't make pretty much any difference, but that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is going to go and if we delete this, this is the neon, and this is, what is this? This is our text. What is this? Okay, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna hide this layer, this text layer over here. So this is our base text. I'm just gonna call this base, and we're gonna call this neon. Okay, so we have this over here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Ctrl J to duplicate it. I'm gonna go right click, and I'm gonna choose rasterize layer. So now we can see we have only this neonness over here, and what then I'm gonna do is I'm going to go and delete that layer, and I'm going to go create a new layer, and I'm going to press Ctrl G, which is going to put that into a group, and I'm going to call this the lights. And what we want to do is we're going to go and grab our brush tool by pressing B on the keyboard, and we get our brush over here, and this brush is pretty huge because if I zoom out, you can see this brush is humongous, and we want a very small brush. So if you hold the square bracket, it's going to reduce down, or you can go manually and you can reduce down the size. So I'm going to go set this to 25, a pretty small one, and then we are going to go and we're going to go to the center, and let's press B again. We're going to reduce this even more. We just want a small hint, and we're going to set our foreground color to white, and we're just going to go make sure you're on this layer and just want to click over here, and that creates a small dot. So maybe that's too big. We can reduce this down even more to say something that's 7, and we can just go here and click on the corners or wherever you want, you know, you want to create some light effect. So I'm just going to go ahead and click all over right over here, and you know, just go clicking. Let's go ahead and click here, and here, and on the L now. Okay, that's great. We can move. Let's get the C. You can add 2 lights over here if you want, and just click, and you can add one over here in the bottom. Over here we can add one over here, and just some random, just in random places. Let's Ctrl Z that. Let's add it on the corners over here and here, and great, almost there, and done. Okay, so once we have that, we can press Ctrl 0, and we have this cool light effect. We can just go and reduce down the opacity of that to say something like 50%. Let's actually set this to 75%. Okay, guys. Then what we want to do is we want to go and select all the layers. We're going to press Ctrl J, which is going to create a copy. We're going to right click, and we're going to choose a rasterize layer. Oops. We're going to go and choose merge layers. Okay. So now we have all these effects applied onto this one single layer. So that's great, guys. go to filter, and I'm going to go choose blur, and I'm going to choose a Gaussian blur, and I'm going to set the radius down to 10, and I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to Control J that to duplicate it. And here we are going to go and set the top one to screen, and then we're going to go to the bottom one. I'm going to set that to, oops, not the group, we're going to set this to overlay, and then you can go ahead and select both and set the radius of opacity to 50%. So yes. So now if we select both of them and press Ctrl G, put them into a null, and we can just, you know, unhide it. So you can see we have this nice flow effect. So that is the end of this tutorial, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions or further requests or anything that you would like to ask me, contact me for stuff. You can check all my social media links are down in the description. So you know, you can contact me on my Gmail, on my Twitter account, on my Behance account as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye bye.